It's currently 10:06 p.m. I've spent the past few hours working on this polystyrene drawing project. Though as of now I plan on going to bed soon. It took hours of work to get to where I am now in regards to the knee pads. I primarily worked on the front of the knee pads, and I'm pretty much done with the front of the knee pads now. But I also did some work on the sides of the knee pads, and that's what I've done most recently. And towards the end of working on the front of the knee pads, during the evening hours, I did some work on the upper part of the top of the jeans. First doing the outline of the buttons and then coloring them in. And then I did the coloring and detailing for first this part and then for this pocket. I did the work on this part, the upper part of the front of the jeans, before deciding that I should probably do the sides of the knee pads next, after pretty much finishing the front of the knee pads. This is part of a pepperoni and bacon pizza, a large if I recall, that Dad got from Salvatore's today. And he also got some peanut butter from Aldi's. Not sure if it was before or after going to Salvatore's. Though prior to that, we didn't have much peanut butter left, so initially I wasn't going to have any peanut butter and jelly bagel sandwiches after the one around 6:45 in the morning was when Dad prepared peanut butter and jelly sandwich for me. And initially I wasn't going to have any more. At least not until Dad came back home from work. But then he reminded me of the pre-cut bagels that he left out for me. During a late afternoon phone call. If I recall, he called me. There were a total of 4 bagel halves, enough to make 2 sandwiches. But I only decided to have half of that around 4:30 p.m. So I wouldn't have to be concerned with spreading what little peanut butter we had left over 4 bagel halves. And at that time, I initially considered having just a peanut butter bagel sandwich, but I checked the nutritional information for the jelly we typically use. It doesn't seem to have that much sugar in it. Though out of this same glass, I had tap water. And I had a few glasses of tap water out of that same glass before having this glass of whole milk. Including one right before having this pizza, as I did work on the sides of the knee pads. Drawing some horizontal lines that I made special effort to keep as straight as possible. Around 11:30 in the morning, I had some jalapeno kettle chips with some of the leftover meatloaf and corn from last night. Yeah, that meatloaf was pretty delicious. I recall having my usual 2 to 3 cups of plain coffee from 6:45 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning at the earliest, to 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning at the latest. And the camo pattern and all the other details for the front of the knee pads, I primarily worked on that during the late morning to late afternoon hours. And the work I did for the upper part of the front of the jeans and the beginnings of the work for the sides of the knee pads, that's more during the evening hours. Evening hours to the early night. I'm currently implementing a plan to do the knee pads differently from previous recent projects in an effort to make them more realistic. And I recall using most, if not all, of these Sharpie markers at one point or another today. I've been primarily playing Merge's Kingdom on Congregate, focusing more on the Dragon adventure than the main world on that game, and focusing, while barely paying any attention to Elvenar, this game here. For the Dragon adventure, I, not too long ago, completed the Purple Dragon, the 5th dragon in the series, which is always a good thing since the dragons produce keys over time, which you need to unlock new areas on Dragona. For me, they've been building up for days that apparently, even though the Tree of Life gives resources, apparently it's cursed to some extent. From what I've seen most recently, the power of the Tree of Life corrupts, based on what I've seen. Each stage of the adventure takes exponentially more points in order to reach it, but I'm doing the best I can on it, while focusing more on the current polystyrene drawing project. And I do this as part of efforts to keep this side part of the knee pad as straight as possible. If it goes below the side part, I use this one. And if it goes above, such as here, I use this brown ultrafine Sharpie marker. I initially used this for these lines, before I realized, and thankfully was able to fix that mistake using this. And now it looks fine to me. It seems I was able to change the color from brown to dark green. Dad gave me the last drumstick ice cream we have. That was pretty nice of him. Earlier I offered it to him, but he gave it to me.